Imagine tiny fires burning inside you right now. Not the kind you can see or touch, but invisible flames flickering through your tissues, your joints, the delicate walls of your blood vessels. These fires don't announce themselves with pain or warning signs. They smolder quietly, day after day, fueled by something so ordinary that most people never suspect it's the problem. Sugar. Every time you consume it, you're adding kindling to an inferno your body can't extinguish. This isn't about weight or cavities. This is about chronic inflammation, a silent assault happening at the cellular level, and it's far more dangerous than you've been led to believe. Most people think inflammation is simply swelling after an injury, the body's helpful response to damage. That's acute inflammation, and it's supposed to heal you. But chronic inflammation? That's different. That's your immune system stuck in attack mode, an alarm that never stops ringing. It's like a fire station where every firefighter rushes out constantly, exhausting themselves, damaging everything in their path, even when there's no real emergency. Sugar flips this switch. Studies show that high sugar intake elevates inflammatory markers like interleukin 6, tumor necrosis factor alpha, and C-reactive protein. These molecules flood your system, attacking not invaders, but you. Your own tissues become collateral damage. The consequences are staggering. Heart disease, arthritis, brain fog, premature aging, Alzheimer's, depression, autoimmune disorders. Scientists now understand that chronic inflammation is the common thread linking nearly every major disease plaguing modern society. And sugar? It's the fuel keeping those fires alive. Research from institutions like Harvard and the National Institutes of Health confirms what your body already knows, but can't tell you. Excess sugar consumption triggers inflammatory pathways that your cells were never designed to handle continuously. But here's what most people don't know. This fire can be extinguished, not over years or months, but in just 3 weeks. 21 days without sugar, and your inflammation levels can transform so dramatically that the change becomes measurable in your blood, visible in your skin, and felt in every movement you make. What happens in just 3 weeks might rewrite everything you thought about your body's healing power. The transformation begins within hours. But the first few days, they tell a story your body has been waiting years to share. The first 72 hours feel like a rebellion. Your head pounds with a dull, persistent ache. Cravings hit like waves, pulling you towards sweetness you've trained yourself to need. Irritability surfaces without warning. Fatigue settles into your bones, making even simple tasks feel monumental. This isn't weakness. This is your body's protest, a system that has relied on sugar's quick energy, now forced to remember older, deeper pathways. Your brain, accustomed to glucose spikes, sends urgent signals. Feed me. Fix this. Make it stop. But while your mind complains loudly, something extraordinary is happening beneath the surface. Your cells are celebrating. What you're experiencing is cytokine fluctuation. The immune system's chemical messengers recalibrating after years of inflammatory overdrive. Every headache, every moment of brain fog is actually evidence of healing beginning. When sugar floods your bloodstream, it triggers a cascade of inflammatory responses. Insulin spikes activate something called the NF-kappa B pathway, a molecular switch that turns on inflammation throughout your entire body. It's like an alarm system designed to respond to genuine threats, but sugar keeps triggering false alerts. Day after day, year after year, the alarm never stops. Your cells are like sponges soaked in sugar water, swollen and struggling. Now, finally, they're being wrung out. Within just 72 hours, something measurable shifts. C-reactive protein, one of the most reliable markers of systemic inflammation, begins its descent. Blood vessels that have been inflamed and rigid start to relax. The endothelial cells lining your arteries, constantly bombarded by sugar-induced stress, get their first true rest in years. This is the silent revolution happening inside you. Your immune cells, overworked and overstimulated, start to stand down from their constant battle stations. The fires are beginning to dim, not because you've suppressed them, but because you've stopped feeding them fuel. Here's the deceptive part. You might not feel better yet. In fact, you might feel worse. The discomfort isn't failure. It's proof of change. Evolution didn't design healing to feel comfortable. It designed healing to work. Your body is rewiring itself, breaking dependencies, remembering ancient metabolic wisdom it forgot under the weight of modern excess. By day 3, your immune system has already started to remember something it forgot: how to rest. But the real transformation? That's just beginning to unfold. Between days 4 and 7, your body crosses into different territory. The withdrawal symptoms fade, replaced by something unexpected. Energy stabilizes. Thoughts sharpen. Your system has made a fundamental shift, moving from burning sugar to burning fat. This metabolic transition produces fewer inflammatory compounds, cleaner fuel that your cells can use more efficiently. Your mitochondria, those ancient power plants living inside every cell, begin burning this premium energy source. They create less waste, fewer toxic byproducts, and the inflammation that waste generates starts to vanish. Something else decreases during this week: advanced glycation end products, molecules formed when sugar binds to proteins in your blood, finally begin to decline. These sticky compounds are like rust inside your body, gunking up cellular machinery and triggering inflammatory responses wherever they go. Without constant sugar intake, your body stops producing new ones and slowly clears away the old damage. It's molecular house cleaning, happening quietly while you go about your day. Around day 5 or 6, many people notice something they hadn't expected. Their joints hurt less. Knees that ached climbing stairs feel smoother. Fingers that were stiff in the morning move more freely. This isn't imagination. Sugar triggers the production of inflammatory molecules called prostaglandins, chemical messengers that amplify pain signals throughout your body. When sugar disappears, prostaglandin levels drop, and the volume on pain gets turned down. It's like finally removing pebbles from your shoes you didn't know were there. Research on arthritis patients shows measurable improvements in joint inflammation within 1 week of eliminating added sugars. The changes extend to your gut, where inflammation often begins. Sugar feeds harmful bacteria that produce inflammatory compounds, keeping your intestinal lining in a constant state of irritation. When you stop feeding these bacteria, they die off. Anti-inflammatory species, the beneficial microbes that protect and heal, finally have room to flourish. This shift in your microbiome begins around day 5 or 6, rebalancing an ecosystem that may have been disrupted for years. Your brain feels different too. The fog that clouded your thoughts lifts gradually. This happens because neuroinflammation, inflammation in brain tissue itself, begins to subside. The blood-brain barrier, a protective wall that keeps toxins out of your brain, becomes stronger and less leaky. Studies show that sugar weakens this barrier, allowing inflammatory molecules to enter where they don't belong. By the end of week 1, your body has crossed an invisible threshold. The fires are dampening. But week 2? That's when your cells begin their deepest repair work yet. Week 2 marks the peak of transformation. Your immune system, which has spent years in constant attack mode, finally recalibrates. T cells and macrophages, the soldiers of your immune army, shift from aggressive inflammation to protective regulation. They stop treating your own tissues like enemies. Chronic sugar consumption keeps these immune cells perpetually activated, responding to sugar molecules as if they were invaders. Studies from leading research institutions show that by week 2, inflammatory markers like interleukin 6 and tumor necrosis factor alpha drop by 20 to 30%. Your immune system finally learns the difference between actual threats and false alarms. What was once chaos becomes coordinated defense. The healing extends to your vascular system, the vast network of blood vessels carrying life throughout your body. For years, sugar has inflamed the endothelial cells lining your arteries, making them stiff, irritated, and dysfunctional. Now, those cells begin to repair. Blood pressure often drops during this week as inflammation subsides and vessels regain their natural flexibility. Your blood vessels, once inflamed highways clogged with inflammatory debris, become smooth rivers again. This isn't just about feeling better. This reduces your risk of heart attack, stroke, and cardiovascular disease. Every beat of your heart moves blood through a cleaner, healthier system. Many people notice their skin transforming around day 10 or 11. Redness fades, breakouts diminish. Conditions like acne, rosacea, and eczema often improve dramatically. This happens because skin inflammation is deeply connected to systemic inflammation. Sugar drives inflammatory processes in the dermis, the deep layer of skin where problems originate. When internal inflammation calms, the skin reflects that peace. It's visible proof of invisible healing. For those living with chronic pain, week 2 often brings profound relief. Backs that have ached for years feel lighter. Muscles that stayed tense finally relax. This occurs because sugar increases Key-X2 enzyme activity, a biochemical pathway that generates pain-inducing inflammatory compounds. Without sugar fueling this cycle, the enzymes quiet down. Research on fibromyalgia and autoimmune conditions shows that reducing inflammatory foods can decrease pain intensity significantly. What felt like permanent discomfort reveals itself as reversible inflammation. Your body was never broken. It was simply drowning in signals it couldn't ignore. By day 14, the changes are no longer subtle. If you had blood tests done now, the numbers would prove what you're feeling. Inflammatory markers have dropped so significantly that the difference is undeniable. Your cells are cleaner, calmer, more efficient. But the final week? That's when transformation becomes lasting change. By week 3, your body has found its new rhythm. The cravings that once felt overwhelming have largely disappeared. Energy no longer spikes and crashes, but flows steadily throughout the day. Your system has undergone a homeostatic reset, recalibrating what normal inflammation should be. For years, your body accepted chronic inflammation as baseline, the default state it had to maintain. Now it remembers something different. Your cells have learned a different rhythm, one closer to what they were designed for. This isn't temporary adaptation. This is your body rediscovering its natural balance. The benefits that began as subtle shifts now emerge as undeniable improvements. Sleep becomes deeper, more restorative. This happens because inflammation interferes with sleep architecture, disrupting the cycles your brain needs for true rest. With inflammation reduced, sleep quality improves naturally. Mood stabilizes in ways that feel almost mysterious. The connection between neuroinflammation and depression is well documented in scientific literature. When brain inflammation decreases, neurotransmitter function improves, and emotional regulation becomes easier. Weight management feels less like a battle. Inflammatory compounds disrupt hormones that control hunger and metabolism. As inflammation calms, these hormones find their proper balance again. Even allergy symptoms often diminish. Histamine responses are amplified by systemic inflammation. So when that inflammation drops, allergies become less severe. The aging question becomes impossible to ignore. Scientists have coined a term for the chronic inflammation that accelerates aging, inflammaging. It's the slow burn that makes cells age faster than they should, that shortens telomeres and pushes cells toward senescence, a state where they can no longer divide or function properly. 21 days without sugar shows your body it can reverse course. You're not just feeling younger. At the cellular level, measurable markers of aging are actually improving. Telomere protection increases. Cellular senescence slows. The molecular clock that determines your biological age starts ticking differently. It's important to acknowledge that experiences vary. Some people see dramatic transformations, others notice subtler shifts. Baseline inflammation levels differ based on genetics, stress, sleep quality, and other dietary factors. Someone who started with severe inflammation may feel like a completely different person. Someone with mild inflammation may notice gentler improvements. But virtually everyone who eliminates sugar shows some measurable decrease in inflammatory markers. The science is consistent even when the subjective experience varies. So after 21 days, you stand at a crossroads. Your body has shown you what's possible. The question is, what happens if you keep going? The truth about returning to sugar is uncomfortable but necessary. If you go back to old patterns, inflammation rebounds within days. Research shows that inflammatory markers spike rapidly after sugar reintroduction, sometimes reaching previous levels within a week. Your body won't punish you for the choice, but it will remember what inflammation feels like again. The fires you extinguished will reignite, fed by the same fuel that kept them burning for years. This isn't judgment. It's simply biology responding to what you give it. But for those who continue limiting sugar, the protection extends far beyond 3 weeks. Long-term studies reveal that people who maintain low-sugar diets show inflammatory levels 40 to 50% lower than their high-sugar counterparts over years. This difference translates directly into disease risk. Heart disease rates drop. Alzheimer's progression slows. Cancer risk decreases. Diabetes becomes far less likely. Autoimmune flare-ups diminish in frequency and severity. Every day, without excess sugar, is another day your cells can focus on living, not just surviving. They repair DNA. They clear damaged proteins. They strengthen membranes. They do the quiet work of maintenance that inflammation constantly interrupts. There's ancient wisdom embedded in this modern science. Our ancestors, the humans who evolved over hundreds of thousands of years, never encountered refined sugar. They ate fruit seasonally, honey occasionally, but never the relentless flood of sweetness that defines contemporary diets. Chronic inflammation, at the levels we see today, is largely a modern phenomenon. Your body still carries the genetic instructions from those ancestors, blueprints for how inflammation should function in brief, purposeful bursts, not constant assault. You're not restricting yourself by avoiding sugar. You're remembering how humans were meant to eat. You now possess knowledge that changes everything. Inflammation isn't a life sentence. It's not an inevitable part of aging or a permanent condition you must accept. It's responsive, adaptive, controllable. 21 days prove that your body wants to heal, that it's been waiting for permission to calm the fires and restore balance. The choice between moderation and elimination is yours to make. Some people thrive with occasional treats. Others find that complete avoidance brings the deepest peace. What matters is understanding the exchange you're making. If your cells could speak after these 3 weeks, they would tell you they've waited years for this rest, this peace, this chance to remember what health feels like. They would thank you for the silence after so much noise, for the calm after endless alarm. Did you notice any changes when you cut sugar? Share your inflammation story in the comments below. And if this video opened your eyes to what your body can do, like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear this message. Want to go deeper? Watch what happens to your brain when you quit sugar for 30 days. It's the perfect next step in understanding your body's transformation.